Say no to almost everything so that you can say yes to the things that really matter to you and that really move the needle forward. Hi guys, my name is James Sander, and today I want to talk to you about one of the top keys to productivity and focus in my life. And it sounds really simple, but it's hard to do in practice until you get the hang of it. And that is to say no to almost everything that comes up in your life so that you can say yes, a big yes, to the one or two things that really matter to you. There's a great quote by Steve Jobs. You may have heard of it. It's an amazing quote. People think focus means saying yes to the thing you've got to focus on. That's not what it means at all. It means saying no to the 100 other good ideas that there are. You have to pick carefully. I'm actually as proud of the things we haven't done as the things I have done. Innovation is saying no to 1,000 things. And I encourage you to apply this mentality in your own life, especially if you feel distracted, unfocused. You sit down at your desk and you don't know which of the 100 things that you want to do today. This is the way forward. This is how you solve this problem. You start saying no to almost everything. You eliminate 90% of your to-do list, and you pick the one or two things that are really going to move the needle for you this month, this quarter, this year, this life. Delete everything that seems important to you, that would be cool to do, but actually is a huge distraction from your actual number one goal. Even if you don't know what is the one thing that you need to do, this advice still works. If you simply eliminate everything non-essential from your life, you clear your schedule, you say no to all commitments, and you just go within, meditate, journal, sit with yourself for a few days, you will find that in that solitude, in that alone time, all the noise will disappear and the things that really matter will come up. You will know what you need to do in life. Allow the noise to die down in order to hear what is truly calling you. A great example I heard is from Danny Miranda. He runs a great podcast, and what he did was he went and booked a cabin in the woods and stayed there by himself with no phone, no internet, no distractions for 5 days. Just him, some journals, some books, no connection to the outside world. In those 5 days, he describes how transformational that was for him, how the noise died down, how he truly was able to connect with his soul and himself and realize what he truly wanted to do. And it's in those 5 days that he realized he wanted to start a podcast. He made a list of over 100 people that he wanted to have on his podcast, his dream guests, and that's where it all began for him. But if he didn't take that time by himself, eliminated all distractions, and sat with himself for 5 days, that might never have happened. Because in our day-to-day lives, we are bombarded with noise. Texts, emails, phone calls, social invitations, parties, movies, you name it. There's so much going on in our lives that when do we truly get time to be alone and just think and just zoom out from your life and look at your whole life and decide, okay, these are the one or two or three things that I really want to get done this year. And everything else, while it seems important, it's not essential. Every day presents 100 or more distractions. And if you don't learn to tune them out and say a guilt-free no to most things that come up, you're going to drown. Your focus is your most important asset. And you know this deep down. And the way you cultivate focus is by removing all the weeds from your life, removing the distractions, removing the distracting people, removing the opportunities to self-sabotage yourself. You got to keep cutting down those weeds every day and keep watering the one or two or three seeds that really require your attention. And everything else, no matter how tempting it looks, you got to learn to say no to it. Charlie Munger once said, find a simple idea and take it seriously. He did not say find 100 simple ideas and take them all seriously. He said find a simple idea. This is the secret of focus. This is the secret power that dwells within you, that if you align all of your energies laser focused on one goal, you're going to be shocked at how much you can move forward in life. The One Thing by Gary Keller. This is an amazing book and I highly recommend you check it out. Gary Keller asks one simple question. What is the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else will become easier or unnecessary? Such a powerful question. Really sit with it. What is the one thing that I can do today such that by doing it, everything else in my life will be easier or simply unnecessary? Here's a few other quotes from The One Thing. Success demands singleness of purpose. Make sure every day you do what matters most. When you know what matters most, everything makes sense. When you don't know what matters most, anything makes sense. Extraordinary results happen only when you give the best you have to become the best you can be at your most important work. Your most important work. Here's another one. It is not that we have too little time to do all the things we need to do. It is that we feel the need to do too many things in the time we have. Long hours spent checking off a to-do list and ending the day with a full trash can and a clean desk are not virtuous and have nothing to do with success. Instead of a to-do list, you need a success list. A list that is purposely created around extraordinary results. These are just some of the gems from The One Thing. I highly recommend you check the book out. It is maybe the best book on focus and results. The times in my life where I felt the most overwhelmed, the most distracted, the most unfocused are the times where I've said yes to too many things. And it creeps up on you. Sometimes you don't even notice it. But you wake up and you're like, holy shit, I have no time to myself. I've said yes to all these social invitations. I'm making other people happy. I'm working on other people's goals. But I'm not taking the hours of time I need to just sit down and work on my life. And when I started saying no, that's where I regained the focus, regained the inner peace. I started hearing my own voice, my own ideas, my own thoughts. That is the time where I got aligned with my purpose, where I spent hours of time in solitude, just working on myself. Not being social, not going out, but just me and me. Those have been some of the most productive, important times in my life. Here are a couple other tips I want to mention on focus and productivity. You want to leave large, uninterrupted gaps of time, hours of time for work and for study. You don't want to have these small windows that are constantly being interrupted with phone calls and text messages and other commitments. Have you ever noticed that if you have a Zoom meeting scheduled for 4 p.m., around 2 p.m., you start feeling the tug of that meeting. You start subconsciously thinking about it. You start preparing for it. You're not fully present and focused on your work because you know this meeting is coming up. And so when you remove all the meetings from your life and you have days in your life where nothing is scheduled, it's just you and you. It's just you and your work. You're going to notice a massive shift in focus because you're not subconsciously thinking about the event that's coming up, the meeting that's coming up, the Zoom call that's coming up. You're purely allowing yourself to focus on the work that's in front of you. And you're able to keep that momentum going. This is so important. You want to get in the flow, stay in the zone, and stick with that momentum for hours. You know, sometimes it'll be midnight, and I know it's not healthy to stay up late, but I'm going to keep working on something if the inspiration is there. I'm going to treasure that time because I know that if I'm in the flow now is the time to pursue this. Now is the time to surf that wave. And, you know, I can catch up on sleep another day, but if the inspiration and the flow and the momentum is there, you better stick with it. You better hold on to it for dear life and say no to everything else. Put your phone on silent, put on airplane mode, do whatever you need to do to stick with that momentum. I was listening to a good interview with Kat Norton the other day, Miss Excel, and she mentioned something really interesting. She said it takes her 1 to 2 hours just to get in the creative flow where she starts to brainstorm ideas for her videos and come up with concepts and plan her next video. And I thought, 1 to 2 hours just to get in the creative flow. Think about that. When was the last time you allowed yourself 1 to 2 hours of uninterrupted time just to get in the momentum before you even start doing the work? But for her, this is a crucial part of the process because she said that if she doesn't give herself that time to really switch brain states and go into that creative flow, the ideas will come, or they won't be as good, or it'll be forced. And that makes complete sense to me as well, that you need to give yourself sufficient time to boot up your system, to go into that mode where the creativity comes, where the momentum comes, where the inspiration comes. If you're constantly running around distracted by text messages, phone calls, meetups with friends, grabbing a lunch with someone, grabbing a coffee with someone, and you're breaking up your whole day into these 1-hour chunks, you're not giving yourself the necessary ammunition, the necessary time to get in that creative flow where the magic happens. I'm sure you have felt a time in your life where time disappears, you're in the creative zone, the work just flows, the ideas are coming, more ideas than you can handle are coming at you, and it's a magical state to be in, but you can only get there by giving yourself uninterrupted stretches of time and by saying no to everything else that is pulling at your attention, tugging at your attention, saying a clear no to it, shutting it off, and just sticking with one thing. Kat Norton also mentioned a great tip in that she divides her weeks into masculine days and feminine days. So masculine days is where she crosses off to-do items, runs errands, sends off the emails, makes the phone calls. And feminine days is where she does none of that, and instead she focuses on getting in the flow, creativity, inspiration, brainstorming ideas, coming up with new concepts for videos. That's where she does the deep work. But she doesn't mix the two. And that strict balance of these are the days where I do the masculine tasks, and these are the days where I get in my creative flow, I think that's a fantastic tip. Be antisocial. Be in your own cave. If you're going to do monk mode, go into monk mode. Shut the world off and stay in your cave. Say no to everyone. There are seasons in life to go out and to go party and to go meet people, and there are seasons of solitude. There are seasons where you need to honor yourself and go deep within and shut off the world and purely focus on your goals, your mission, what's important to you. I find that for me personally, solitude is crucial for focus. I need to be in my own space. That's where I get my best work done. When I'm uninterrupted, in solitude, completely alone, focused on 1 or 2 things that I need to get done. Just 1 or 2 things. You know, the more things you put on your to-do list, the less likely you're going to do any of them, is my experience. The days where I've had 10 to 20 items that I need to check off are the days where I feel overwhelmed and I end up doing none of them. And the days where I say, hey, I'm just going to do one thing. If I can get this one thing across the finish line, I'll be happy. That's the day where I end up doing more than I expect. So try setting a daily highlight. One thing that you want to get done today. That if nothing else, this is the one crucial thing. And then be diligent about it. Say no to every other task. Say no to the phone calls and the messages. Turn off your phone and do that one thing. First thing in the morning, as soon as you can get it done, the earlier in the day, the better. You also want to clear the blocks in your life. Anything that is hindering your flow and your movement, your energetic movement, needs to be gone from your life. You got to cut the cords and reevaluate any existing commitments so that in every part of your life, the energy is flowing. If you feel a block in your life or resistance in your life, go and look at what that is. Is it prior commitments? Is it certain people in your life? Is it certain expectations from certain people? Do what you need to do to create the space in your life to thrive, to focus, to be productive. Whatever the blocks are, do what you need to do to clear them. Cancel any commitments that are no longer serving you. Remove people from your life that are no longer serving you. Remove to-do items from your list that have been there for months and you know you're not going to get around to them. Edwin Bliss, he wrote this book, Getting Things Done, the original Getting Things Done. This was before David Allen. And in it, he calls it the velleity. And velleity is a word that describes things you want to do, but you know you're not really going to do it. You don't have the commitment to actually take action on it. So he says, go through your entire list of goals and cross out any of the things that have velleity in them. Cancel any commitments that no longer serve you, and keep saying no to any new commitments that show up in your life, because they will show up. Every day there's going to be new things that you could do, and you have to be very diligent and decide, these are the 1 or 2 or 3 things I'm doing this year, and everything else is a distraction. Keep saying no to anything that is other than a hell yes. When something does come up that is intriguing to you, decide quickly. Are you doing it or not? Don't stay in that in-between place. So, oh, I might do this. I don't know. Decide, commit, keep your word. Once you've said yes to something, your word is golden, and commit to it. And this frees you up from any energetic blocks. My last piece of advice, be intentional. Anything that you're committing to, be intentional about it. Why are you doing this? Why are you going to this dinner? Why are you going to this event? What do you hope to accomplish in that time? And it could be, I'm going for fun. That's fine, but get clear on your intention. Don't just wave your arms in the air and say, well, whatever happens, happens. I'm open to anything. Direct reality. You are the director. You are the creator. Decide what you want. Put the intention out. Reality may have its own plans, and it may surprise you, but you've got to do your part, and that is to set the intention. For every single thing that you do in your life, set the intention. What would you like to see out of this? What would you like to learn from this? What would you like to experience from this? Do everything with intention. You do your part of the dance, and the universe will dance with you. There's a lot more I can say about this topic, but the number one idea that I want to leave you with today is to say no to almost everything, so that you can say yes to your life, your mission, your purpose, your number one goal for this year. It starts with the no. And once your life is clear of obligations, unnecessary commitments, unnecessary distractions, that's where you'll be able to find the energy and the motivation and the drive to really get that one thing that's important to you across the finish line. And when you do say yes to something, say it rarely, intentionally, and with total commitment. I hope this video helped you with your focus and your productivity. Remember, focus is not about saying yes to something. It's about saying no to 1,000 distractions. That's where the real power of focus is. I hope this helped, and I'll see you in the next video. Much love. Thank you.